everybody. This is Joshua Hatton with One Nation Under Whiskey podcast, extra edition. Now, normally I am joined by either Jason, Neil Patrick Harris Johnston Yellen, or by Jessica Rabbit Guillermo Lomas, but Jason's a bit under the weather. He wanted to be a part of this, but he's got some cough. He'd be doing more coughing than talking. And that's not a good listen or a good watch. And so we decided to spare you all. And then Jess is, she's in Glasgow. I'm in the US. Sometimes things don't work out. So you are stuck with me, but hopefully that's not such a bad thing. But we've got a very special episode today. Hopefully, maybe a few episodes ago, you will recall we brought on one of our long-standing members, a founding member, Michael Nolan, and he's out of Chicago. And today we're doing the same. We're bringing in another long-standing member of the nation. We're going to pour some whiskey, have a little conversation, get to know him a little bit, and let you guys get to know him a little bit. We're bringing in Nation Member Frederick Keator. Hey, Frederick.
Hey, Josh. How are you?
I'm doing all right. How are you doing?
Couldn't be better. Living the dream down here in sunny Florida.
Oh, you're
not so sunny right now. It's dark, but.
So I was just speaking with someone who's in Florida right now, and they said they are basically melting of the heat. Are you north? Are you south?
Yeah, we're north, Jacksonville area. Melting season has begun, but we bug out up to Western Mass in the summer where I grew up. So we won't completely melt. I could also, if you lose a couple pounds, a little bit of melting isn't so bad.
Gotcha. Well, that's nice that you're able to do a little snowbirding and then, enjoy the warmth down there during the winter and then the warmth up here during the summer. That's not so bad.
Yeah, it's great.
Do you split your whiskey collection amongst the two residences?
I have. It's interesting. Trying to ship whiskey is, as you would well know, it's not easy. Between TSA and UPS and FedEx, I do move. I've been moving bottles down here on every trip I make back north. And actually, there's one bottle I don't have here that I wish I did, and that's the Del Ewan 9-year-old from 2012, which is maybe one of my top 5 bottles ever that you've released.
That was, if I remember correctly, that was the ex-bourbon cask Del Ewan. Am I correct on that one?
No, I think it's sherry.
Yeah, I'm trying. We've gotten to a point where, I used to know every single cask that we've bottled. And now we're, I think, nearing 500 or more casks that we've either bottled or, it's about to be bottled, about to be released. And I guess it's a good problem to have that you don't know everything is bottled or you don't remember it all. But okay.
No, this one I'll never forget. It was fantastic. It's fantastic. I bought a couple bottles and I've been coveting a couple that I won't open. Some others I've just been slowly nursing.
Yeah, beauty.
But yeah, the collection gets split between north and south.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Well, speaking of whiskey, why don't we pour a little bit? I brought out the April releases. That's what I have. You said before we started recording that you had some surprises. So I'm happy to follow your lead if you wanted to lead with a surprise.
Well, if we want to start with April, I'm fine with that. I'll start with my favorite of the 3 that I picked up, and that is this Ben Nevis 8.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
This is, and I would say that I really probably should have this up in New England right now. This is like for me, it's the perfect spring whiskey. It's still a little cold outside. It's a Highland. Sip it by the fire, but it's super, super light. I mean, when I first saw it, like, this isn't whiskey. This is like pushing. It's like, where's the color? There's not going to be any flavor to this at all. And it is absolutely fantastic.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's, and this is the beautiful thing, not just Ben Nevis, but, I would argue many, many distilleries, but I think there's something so incredibly special about Ben Nevis. It has such a weight and such a heft. And, I'm not certain of, how many different Ben Nevi you've had, but, the spirit character in here shines in their 20-somethings. It shines in the teen stuff. Like it's undoubtedly Ben Nevis. And that's when we tasted this and we knew we were going to be doing this, this April where we were trying to highlight the spirit character. We said, wow, this is just a perfect way to show people that, the flavor is coming not just from the cask, it's coming from the spirit and really holds its own.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised that this is an 8-year-old.
All right, so you've been with us, gosh, I can't count the years, but you've been with us for a good long while now.
Yeah, it's funny. I was trying to figure out when I started, but I can't seem to find emails that old in my email box.
Did you purchase a membership, or did you come on after memberships were done?
I remember receiving a welcome, you are now a member. So I think I may have purchased a membership originally.
Okay. So then you have been with us at least 10 years because we ended that in 2016.
Okay.
Yeah, so 2017 is when membership sales went away. We launched our retail range, and that's when we said, you know what? If we're selling our whiskeys on retail shelves, why don't we make the online stuff more accessible to everybody? And so, okay,
yeah,
so
that's for interesting. You mentioned retail. When I was looking up, trying to find some old, points in time because I think COVID has accelerated everyone's timeline. I found an order that I purchased a retail bottling of Single Cask Nation. It had to be back in the teens, 2018 maybe. And I had to have it shipped to my brother in New Jersey because I could not get it shipped to Massachusetts.
Oh, yep.
So I was buying the early retail bottles as well.
Yeah. Okay. Wow.
And I will say the guys at Sean at Four Seasons has been phenomenal. He carries so much.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, that's really good from a retail standpoint. Yeah. Back to the retail. Sean at Four Seasons, Bikram at Norfolk, Ryan at Julio's, the list really goes on.
Julio's is a hype for me, but they're fantastic.
Yeah.
Burlington Wine and Spirits. Yeah, Burlington Wine and Spirits up in Burlington, Mass, north of Boston. Fantastic too, but it's just tough. It's tough getting there.
Yeah. There are some amazing shops in Massachusetts. Like Massachusetts is one of our biggest markets because of how good the retail shops are. Like they really pay attention, not just to whiskey, but to boutique whiskey, to, independent brands. And that's always been really cool. So you've been with us a bit over 10 years, but we started 15 years ago. And I'm curious, where were you 15 years ago in your whiskey journey? What did that look like for you?
I would say it was all Scotch. There was no bourbon, no rye, certainly no American malt at the time.
Yeah. Okay.
And it was, the retail bottles of the, Highland Park 18 I was introduced to very early on, and that was a fantastic bottle that you could get, $60, $70.
Right.
And so, and I like
bottles.
No, this is a little bit later than the dumpy bottles.
Okay. Yeah, I gotcha.
But I kind of fell in love with peat, but the northern peat more than the Isla. And then the more I had the northern peat, then I kind of started drinking the Isla, and I can still hear my wife asking me from across the house, "What did you just open?" And it was the Ardbeg 10, which is just a staple in our house.
Yeah.
But yeah, it certainly wasn't independent bottles. It was,
okay.
Dewar's and Jameson. I'm 90% Irish, even though I have a Dutch last name. A lot of Irish whiskey, but it was just standards, right? Jameson and
yeah, sure.
Tullamore and wedding whiskey, as we would call it.
Yeah. So what was the whiskey then? If you went from Jameson and Tullamore Dew and, like you said, wedding whiskey, just sort of, good whiskeys, but pedestrian whiskeys, just meant for sort of everyday casual drinks. What was the one whiskey that gave you that aha moment, and who introduced you to that? What was the situation? What did that look like?
I swear to God, this is not set up. I can't believe you asked me that question, because there is a very, very specific incident that occurred. And my brain keeps a lot of useless knowledge, as my wife would say, but this kind of stuff doesn't hang around. This thing was incredible. My wife Renee and I were going down to the Food and Wine Festival at Walt Disney World and celebrating with her best friend from high school who just got married. We bought them a ticket to this thing that they used to do called the Party of the Senses, where it was a food table matched with a wine table. You'd walk in and they hand you a plate of food, they hand you a glass of wine, and you'd work your way table to table. Well, I hit this table and this guy was serving Highland Park 18. I'm like, I like that. I've had that before. And we got chatting about it. And he said, well, if you like this, go talk to Steve over at the other table down there at table 45. And I went down there and he introduced me to this Remy Martin Napoleon brandy, which I really enjoyed. I had never had brandy before. Mm-hmm. And we got chatting about that. And he said, hey, did Scott ever tell you what was under the table? I said, oh, no. He did not tell me anything under the table. Well, go back and ask him. So I went back, and you're given, when you attend this event, a long stem red wine goblet. It's a big bulb of glass. Mm-hmm. And this guy pulled out a bottle of Macallan 30. Ooh. Gave me what I would say today is a triple pour. And my buddy, who my wife's best friend married, and I couldn't believe what I was drinking. I melted. This was maybe the most delicious thing I've ever had at that point.
Yeah.
And then I said to myself, there's more out there. And so I just started picking different things up off the shelf and trying different things. Now, back then it was, you spend $50, $60, you were spending a lot of money for an independent bottle. But of course, I went home and immediately Googled how much that Macallan 30 was, because, of course, I wanted a bottle. And I'm like, there's no way I can buy this bottle.
Yeah, how much was it then?
It had to be like 3 grand, 4 grand. This was 2010, 11, 12. I can't quite remember when it was, but my wife could tell me because it was right after their wedding. Okay. But it was kind of early-ish on in my journey, but it was just this light bulb moment that there is whiskey out there that is not wedding whiskey.
Right. Yeah, that's fantastic. I love that. What did you say the guy's name was at the Highland Park table?
Oh, I was making it up.
Okay, you didn't say his name. Okay.
No, when I tell the story, it's like Steve and Scott or Paul and Peter.
Okay. So the reason I ask is because it's, every once in a while you have these sort of small world moments, right? So was it at my synagogue? No, it was somewhere else. It was at another event. and there was a Highland Park guy who also had Macallan stuff, and he's dapper, dressed quite nicely, and he's pouring some lovely drinks. And I get his name. His name's Jeremy, and we get to talking, and I find out he's from Guilford. That's my town. Oh, wow, yeah. That's cool. I'm like, Guilford. Wow, did you grow up there? Yeah, I grew up there. I said, oh, did you know a girl named Heidi Mueller? He's like, I went to high school with her. I said, that's my wife. So if it was Jeremy that introduced you to that Macallan, that would have been a nice little, full circle.
Well, although in the whiskey world is a very small world.
Yeah.
And I remember being at a whiskey event here. We get together every Saturday. We have this group called the Jacksonville Bourbon and Whiskey Society. We meet every Saturday from 2 to 4 at a different location throughout the city, which is great for discovering the city when you're new to the area. It's great for supporting local bars and restaurants. And it's a bottle ship. You bring a bottle or 2 or 6 and you throw them up on the bar and everyone tastes and talks. And it's really fantastic. And it's a great way to experience stuff that you've never had. So that's where I kind of started my bourbon journey. But I remember reaching out to you saying, hey, do you know Blake Reaver from Sealbacks?
Yep.
And, at first Sealbacks didn't resonate, but Bourboner did. And it's like, you can't trip over someone here without someone knowing it's a lot closer than 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. There's more 2 and 3 degrees than there are 6. Yeah. So speaking of bottle shares, what's next on the docket for us?
You want to stay in April, or you want to travel a little bit here?
No, I'm happy to travel. Like I said.
Well, you know what I brought out, which is interesting. I'm not going to share with you tonight, but I was really excited when this Binny's bottle, which I have to thank you specifically, because there's no way I was getting this out of Chicago from either Florida or Massachusetts, and you were kind enough to connect me with someone. Not drinking this tonight, but this is fantastic.
It's a gorgeous whiskey.
And by the way, I checked today. They still have bottles of Binny's, which I'm shocked.
Shocked is the word. A 30-year-old for $250.
And if you're a Binny's member, I think it's 20 or 15 or 10% off. I mean, it's stupid cheap.
Yeah.
We'll go here instead if we're going to go 30.
Oh,
I know. We still my beating heart, right? So this Imperial is, as you know, fantastic.
Yeah. And
I opened this. I've been having a gathering of friends from our whiskey group. My daughter, who's 27, came to visit from Atlanta, and she said, we all need to make a bingo card for 2026. And of course, I struggled with what I'm going to put on my card, but I said, I'm going to have 4 gatherings in 2026 at the house here in Florida, and just invite people to come and share and open bottles that I hadn't opened. And this Imperial is one that I hadn't opened.
Wow.
But the Glenmorangie 30, I also got in time for that. And that was the number 1 pick that night by a friend of mine who we've now deemed the judge of the evening. We're having another one in 2 weeks, and I'm dying to know what he picks. It's going to be a rye. It's called All Ryes. We're only drinking ryes.
That's great. So just for our listeners, instead of our viewers here, for our listeners who haven't seen the bottle that Frederick poured, that was our 30-year-old Imperial that he's got in his glass. Yep. And that was from our woodcut series. And so we did just 4 from our woodcut series, a 30-year-old Bowmore, a 30-year-old Imperial, a 28-year-old Laughing Frog. You can do the math on what Isla Distillery that is. And then a 26-year-old Thrusk.
So when do we get you to get Single Cask down here in Florida?
So we are distributed in Florida.
I haven't seen it anywhere yet.
Well, we may not be in Jacksonville. We're in Miami. We're in Tampa. What's the sister city to Tampa?
St. Pete. I'll be there Wednesday night, Thursday.
Yeah. Yep. So we're in St. Pete. If you need help finding a bottle, I'm going to put this up not just for you, but for our viewers. If you ever need help finding a retail bottle, office@impexbev.com, whether it's Florida or whatever state you happen to be. And if you happen to live in a state where you can't find our bottles, our importers at Impex Bev will find a shop that can ship to you. So, they'll definitely help you out. office@impexbev.com. So they'll help you, and I can connect with you afterwards if there's a certain bottle that you're looking for, or if there's a shop in St. Pete. I'll see if I can find you a shop in St. Pete that might have some of our stuff for you.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So all right. So the Glen Murray 30-year-old was the winner of the last sort of gathering. For the 10 plus years that you've been with Single Cask Nation, do you have a favorite from what we've released?
I think I may have mentioned it. The Deluan.
That one is the favorite.
Well, I would say top 5. I've got 3 kids, and I've got a favorite, but depending on the day of the week, right? That Deluan 9-year-old sherry cask from 2012. 2012, so it's 2021 you released it. Unbelievable. Just fantastic. This Imperial is probably one of them as well. I can't pour it, but we just killed it. This pre-fire I held on to this as long as I could. Opened in November at my birthday when I had about 15 or so people here at the house, and we nursed it until about April. This thing was not only pre-fire, as they say here, it was fire. It was just absolutely delicious.
For the listeners who couldn't see that, that's our 24-year-old bourbon that we released. I think it was in 2021. Like that was, we were definitely in the throes of COVID when we.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
And I think you sent out about 18 or 24 emails, tracking this thing. This is where we are. This is where we are, because
yes,
the world had shut down and everyone was living on their email. And I don't think it was lottery, but I remember missing out. I remember getting some lottery bottles too, but in the days where things were so tight that. Were the turkeys? Because I have those too. I just opened them. I'm not a huge Wild Turkey fan, but we have a lot of Wild Turkey fans here. So I've got the 2 10-year-olds that you did.
Oh,
these are delicious.
Those are our final ones. The Raiders of the Charred Cask, and which one was
this is the Cask Crusade. Sorry, the eyes aren't what they used to be.
Cask Crusade.
Cask Crusade.
Cask Crusade, yes.
And then I can't remember the name of the other one, but yeah, they're my friends here who are big turkey people. They absolutely love that one.
So those were, I wouldn't say those were always on lottery. Early on, we put those up on our website, and they were first come, first served. And what had happened was they would sell out in 30 seconds, and people would put them in their cart. And by the time they, pressed the purchase button, the bottle would be removed because people.
Someone else bought it. Yeah.
Right. And
well, we weren't doing anything else during COVID, Jason.
Right.
For Joshua.
You couldn't do anything else.
Nothing to do.
So that we learned our lesson quickly. Like we really pissed off a lot of people. So that's when the lottery started. So it was the Wild Turkeys went lottery, the Westlands went lottery. That 24-year-old bourbon did not go lottery because we had, I want to say it was 1,200 bottles or so. And, it wasn't one cask, right? We bought a tote of that, of that whiskey. That's what was on offer to us. So we figured, gave people enough shot to buy what they need. So,
but I remember desperately wanting to try that Pappy Nonsense, and I never got it. And then so I went after those Stones of Finesse with a vengeance.
So you never got to taste the Pappy Nonsense?
No, I never tried the Pappy.
Oh boy. Oh,
but
well,
that's okay.
Sorted. Well, I'm sure I have an open bottle somewhere. I'll have to pick up a sample for you.
So you were asking about absolute favorites, and this is the one, and I have to open a new bottle because this Tomor that you put out, this Tomor 10.
Oh, wow.
I probably bought anywhere between 7 and 10 bottles of this. I got the bottle, I opened it, I'm like, I can't believe this didn't sell it right away. This stuff, for the money, was, I think, one of the best you've ever put out. For me, for my palate.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. That's that really means a lot. We were Tormore is an interesting one for us because we always listen, we bottle the casks that we fall in love with. And it's as simple as that. However, when it comes to Tormore and Glen Murray as well, and I want to pour Glen Murray next. That's what I'm going to do next, the new 13-year-old. But when it comes to Tormore, we always have Ollie Chilton in the backs of our minds because he's in charge of their liquid and he's a dear friend. And so we feel that we've got to impress him. And yeah, so that one, so knowing that you've purchased 7, 8, 10 bottles of those, hopefully, Ollie, you're listening to that. We've done right by you. So. Oh
yeah, this is absolutely fantastic. So, the pre-fire, the Imperial 30, the Lafrogue 29, the Bellini 9-year-old from 2012, released in 21, and this Tomor, I would say, are my top 5 scotches. Yeah, because you've put out some really great mezcal.
Uh-huh.
And I keep bugging the crap out of you to get more mezcal out there. And it's funny because I made a comment on Facebook about mezcal, and I have no idea who responded, but I said something like, Joshua, you should meet Charlie Prince if you want to get some good mezcal. And someone said, I think he knows. And I was like, yeah, I think he does too.
Now that's a man who knows his mezcal. Yeah, he knows it well. Yeah, we want to do it. We really want to do mezcal, but I mean, there's a number of factors why we haven't done it yet. And I think I've mentioned it to you probably on Facebook or maybe through Facebook Messenger. But it's like one of the biggest factors is Jason and I and Jess as well. We don't want to be the 3 gringos putting out someone else's spirit. We want to make sure that we're doing it in a way that really honors the producers, the mezcaleros, and yeah, we just, it's always with the thought of doing right by people. And so there's that thought in mind. And then just, us, we're always Scotch whiskey first. And then we've got we have bourbon that we have to do. We really love rye. And so we will get back to mezcal. We do want to do mezcal, but we just want to do it the right way. Question for you. When it comes to mezcal, I don't know how deep into it you are. Like, do you have an agave that you like? Like, what about mezcal drew you in? No? Okay.
It's a little like Armagnac, the bourbon. It's not quite whiskey, but it's drinks more like a peated whiskey.
Yeah.
Mezcal's that smoky tequila that has that depth and richness to it that's different. And I find that fascinating. And I just don't know enough about it. And quite frankly, to be very candid, I trust what you and Jason and Jess have been doing. So I know that if you put one out, more than likely I'm going to like it. And probably other Nation members will like it because, you go into a liquor store today and it's just, the aisles are full of them. Mm-hmm. You're not going to buy every one of them.
Yep. That's true. And listen, I really appreciate that. That means a lot that you would trust what we put out. Like, you buy a lot from us. I'm not going to divulge, to our listeners and viewers, but it's clear you trust us, and that means a lot. And we do not take that for granted at all. So thank you. Seriously, thank you.
Well, you've done a really great job. And so, hopefully, as I said, to 15 more great years. Let me ask you a question, if I can.
Go ahead.
Artisanal. How's it been?
Yes. That is a good question. So first off, I've just poured this. This is the Glen Murray 13-year-old first fill bourbon.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yep.
All right. We'll drink that together.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Our time with artisanal has been really, first and foremost, it's been great, but it's also been interesting, for 13 years, because, we're 2 years into this now. Right. So for 13 years, it was me and Jason, and then later on, Jess coming in. And of course, actually, early on in the journey, we had Seth Klaskin as well, right? He was part of, our earlier days, and we had our way of doing things, which was relying on third parties. And while it was Jason's full-time job, it was my side gig. Even though it was a full-time job, it was my side gig. But we at all times had to work with third-party partners, bottling halls, warehouses, you name it. And so now with artisanal and brokers, right? Like, we had to buy from brokers, we bought from distilleries. With artisanal, we walked into a situation where we don't need to purchase from brokers or distilleries to meet what we need as a business, right? We're bottling 100 casks per year, and in our warehouse, we have 18,000 casks. Like, we don't need to do that part of it anymore. That's kind of cool. We have our own warehouse. That's cool. We have our own bottling hall. That's cool as well.
So how many arm wrestling matches do you have with Tom Smith?
Oh, Tom. Of course you know Tom. Tom and I we get along really well. This is the good thing.
Tom's a great guy.
He's a great guy. Single Cask Nation and Scotch Malt Whiskey Society do not compete in any way, shape, or form. So first off, they have a completely different flavor, like completely different palate than we do. When we say no to a cask, we give reasons as to why we say no, and everybody within the organization can see that. And we can see why they would say no to a cask. And so we've actually bottled a cask or two that they've said no to. And so it's just clear, they have a palate, they have their palate, we have our palate. And of course they have their panel, right? Which is a different sort of thing.
Yeah, different setup.
Yeah. And so that's one thing that, with a very small C, That was one thing that I was a little concerned about. Would there be that rub? Would there be some, would we be stepping on one another's toes? And we haven't in any way, shape, or form. And no, Tom and I get along really well. We hung out just a couple months ago. He came up to New Haven. We got some proper New Haven pizza, drank some beers. He's
the Pepe's?
a really cool guy. What's that?
The Pepe's, New Haven?
So yeah, New Haven has Pepe's, but I took him to Bar.
I haven't been to Bar.
So
New Haven's our IKEA. I gotta go all the way to New Haven to get to an IKEA.
Oh, do you? Okay.
From the Berkshires,
so do you know Louis' Lunch?
Oh, sure. I got locked out of Louis' Lunch one day. My wife and I took the kids down to New Haven. Yeah. We're like, hey, let's go to Louis' Lunch for burgers, the home of the American burger. Yeah. And we get up there, and there's a sign on the door, out of hamburger meat, closed for the afternoon. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. That's all you do is sell hamburgers. I mean, be closed.
Directly across from Louis' Lunch is Bar New Haven.
Okay.
So that is my favorite pizza place.
I have to try it this summer.
They're a brewery and a pizza joint, and great beers.
What's their best beer? And by the way, thanks. You sent some beer down to me as well.
Oh yeah.
The
Rocket Frog beer.
Rocket Frog, yeah.
Which was a brewery by David Hartogs and his brother, who are Nation members, which sadly is now closed. But yeah, did you got a chance to open that beer?
Yeah, I did. I brought it to a whiskey night one night, and we cracked it open and shared it. And, varying opinions, but again, I mean, I've had someone had the other day. I can't remember what it was, but like they had to ransom one of their children for it, one of these stupid price bottles, and I just didn't like it. I can't even tell you what it was. I just didn't like it.
Yeah,
but that's the beautiful part of this whole experience is that there's something out there for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, it's great. I love that about this, is that there is something for everybody, and there's a lot out there.
And so I'm going to ask you another question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because you put out some really great rums, your Thorntons, your Diamond. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Very good. What's next in the rum scene?
That's a good question. We don't have anything in the pipeline. We will always do our kosher for Passover rum. That's really important.
Thank you. As an Irish Catholic, I actually appreciate that, because I always try to buy a couple bottles and give them to my Jewish friends so that they have something to celebrate Passover with.
There you go. I appreciate that. That's good. That's a nice thing to be doing. That's a mitzvah. Yeah, that's a good question. There won't be any rum for 2026. I can tell you that. There may be some for 2027, but we haven't actively looked at any. But you're not the first person to ask for more rum. So I think I need to take note there. Do you like the funky stuff? Do you like the more whiskey like?
Yeah, well, again, I haven't had nearly as much rum. My buddy Jerry, who lives down here, who crowned your Glen Murray the number one of the night a couple weeks back. Mm-hmm. He has introduced me to a lot of different rums, so I'm just starting to get there. And another buddy of mine, Scott, he introduced me to this Presidential Diplomatico,
Oh yeah,
I don't know. This thing, I swear to God, I was eating one of my grandmother's molasses cookies. It was the most delicious thing I had.
Yeah,
and it wasn't cheap. But I made sure I got myself a bottle and tucked that away, because that's something I'm waiting to have on a cold winter's night up in New England. It was just really brilliant. But again, what I found is that rum is so diverse. And, I've had family members and friends that's like, oh, Captain Morgan, drink rum. It's like tequila, drink Cuervo. It's like, no. There's so much more complexity in these spirits. And again, the Nation has done a really good job curating that for me so that I don't have to go out there and just buy crap I don't like just to try stuff I don't like.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see what comes up. Thornton rum for sure. If I had it my way, I would really like to bottle some more Beanley. I really like what Beanley does, that Australian rum.
Mm-hmm.
And I quite like Diamond. I like Guyanese rum. I think, granted with Diamond, they have a number of different stills there, so you can get, I forget the number of stills there, but the Diamond Distillery bought up stills from all of the distilleries within Guyana, so you have all these different spirit types. So that's one of the things I like about that distillery is you can explore a number of flavor profiles just from a single distillery.
Well, so the Guyanese, going back to Tom Smith, a number of years ago, Scotch Malt Whiskey Society released this rum, 18-year-old Guyanese rum. So I'm guessing it's Diamond because, again, I don't know the rum industry that intimately.
Yeah, it will be.
But once I tasted it, I picked up the phone and I called Tom and I was like, how much do you have? And how much can I have? And I think I bought 7, 8, 9 bottles of that. Because, and here's my thing about single cask, because people talk about I don't know, Pappy 20 or Blanton's, or when it comes to the bourbon community. I like different. I like to try something and get into it, and then I like the fact that it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Once it's gone, you're never going to have that exact thing again.
Yep.
And there's something special about that.
Yeah.
Because part of it, I think, to me says you're just going to have to go and try the next thing rather than long for that which you've always had and just watch the price go up, 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 up. And we that psychological anchoring. That Highland Park that I used to pay $65 for, that now I got to pay $200-$300 for. It's like it doesn't taste the same to me.
No, I know.
It's so good, but it doesn't taste the same.
Yeah.
So when I find something like this Tormore, and I can get it at that, I can't remember what it was, 110, 120 a bottle, and I know I'm never going to get it again. I have the chance. I'm going to buy a bunch of bottles. And,
I think it was 100. If it was 10-year-old, it would have been 100, I think.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
So President Bartlett, who my dog named after, what's next?
So, and I think this will be the whiskey that I'm going to close on. This is an extra episode, so we usually keep these ones.
Oh, this is a tight 3 hours and 45 minutes.
You love Daluane, so this is going to be released this Thursday, so May 21st. It's a 13-year-old Daluane from a PX sherry cask.
Oh, you're speaking my language.
Yeah, so this is a little sneaky peeky.
This is Thursday's release?
This is Thursday's release. Natural cask strength of 51.7%. So it really lost some ABV on it. But this is like, I don't know if you could see it. Like my screen is.
Yeah. It's a little tough. A little ruby. Yeah.
It's dark. This is some dark liquid. And it may be PX sherry, but it's dry. It's not overly sweet. It's not overly juicy. This is drying and really, really nice. So
I think I'm going to finish with this Laughing Frog.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Now, is this the only thing you're releasing on Thursday?
No, so we are releasing. So it's the Daluane 13-year-old in PX sherry. Then there will be a 14-year-old Longmorn in second fill bourbon, but a really active second fill bourbon cask, as you can hopefully see there.
Well, kind of. A little green screening going on.
Yeah. And that's all 14 years in second fill bourbon. And then we're doing a Glen Elgin that was in port. And this is, I think, the second ever cask we've bottled from port. So a 12-year-old Glenelgan in port.
That's another thing you and I have talked about in the past is just drinking good sherry, port, vermouth.
Right.
We need these barrels. We may as well drink the spirit because it's just so delicious.
Right. Yep. I know I'm doing my part. Are you doing your part? You're a sherry drinker?
I'm trying. I am. I had a great time. My daughter was living in Spain for a year, so I went over.
Oh, nice.
Spent some time with her, and we had some great sherries over there. I lied. I've got one last one. It arrived today. I just opened it.
Oh, look at you.
This
25-year-old Lafroig.
This is
yep.
Unbelievable. It took me a while to pull the trigger, but I'm so glad I did.
So for our listeners, what Frederick is pouring is our 25-year-old Lafroig from our online shop. And yeah, I know you purchased that.
Retail bourbon Hoggy, 171 bottles. It is,
I think it's 58.3.
58.7 maybe? It could be 3. It's terrible getting old. Joshua, don't get old.
I'm trying. It's not easy.
July 99. The only thing that would have made this better would be May of 99 when my daughter was born. But it is, it's fantastic.
Cheers. I appreciate you opening that up.
And it's funny because the note that I would never, ever have been able to assign to this that I heard is shotgun shells, which is such a unique note, but it's spot on.
Yeah. Yep. Takes me right back to shooting guns with my dad as a younger man.
Yeah, we didn't shoot a lot of shotguns in the Boy Scouts. It was a lot of rifles. But,
okay. 30-06, knock you on your ass.
Yeah. But we did some shotgun training when I had my first job out of college. But it brings me back. It's
that's great.
And Lafroig is just, it's almost as if you can't go wrong with Lafroig.
Yeah. And this one, 25 years at 58.3, Isla seems to have a knack, and I don't know why, but Isla seems to have a knack of losing its ABV, Isla Spirit, right? Losing its ABV a bit quicker than spirit from distilleries off island. But for some reason, this one retained a lot of its alcohol. And the only thing that we can guess after 25 years of 58.3, the only thing that we can guess is that this cask may have been filled at a higher ABV, which would also talk to the fact that it's kind of feisty. It's still... Yes, it's 25 years of age, but it still has, some oomph to it. It has life to it,
Yeah, it's got life and character, but it is not overwhelming. It's not overpowering at all.
No. But it's not tired. It's not overpowering. It's like it seems to be this like just lovely Goldilocks of a Lafroig. Yeah, we're really, really excited about that one.
Yeah, you've done very well with this one.
Yeah, cheers. Frederick, it has been a lot of fun hanging out with you.
Thanks so much for asking.
Yeah.
We got to get you down to Jacksonville. I know we've been trying for a while, but it seems like winters go by so fast. But
they do. Do you ever do events at I feel as if we owe you.
You do. Oh yeah, you do. And I'm trying to organize that as a fundraiser because I don't like to do things if we can't do something for other people.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, we'd love to have you bring back the Giving Tuesday after Thanksgiving.
Yes, we really wanted to do it this year. And by this year, I mean last year. We really wanted to do it in 2025, and we just, for a number of reasons, we couldn't make it happen. Will it happen in 2026? We'll see. This is our 15th anniversary. We're focusing on the return of Whisky Jewbilee, which is going to be on October 15th. Yes.
Where?
Right.
It's breaking news?
October 15th in Chicago.
All right.
Artifact Events. Now, we meant you may not have caught up yet, but we mentioned this in our last episode.
Oh, yeah, I'm a little behind.
Yep.
I'm a podcast junkie. I listen to like 8 different podcasts weekly, so I'm usually a week or two behind.
So this return of the Jubilee is in celebration of our 15th anniversary.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
So, yep, October 15th.
Tickets on sale?
What's that?
Are tickets on sale?
Not yet.
Well, that sucks.
Watch this.
Come on, man.
Tickets on sale.
Tickets on sale.
Everything, Frederick. Ask a question. I got a banner for it.
That's very good news. And I know a couple of my friends down here in Jacksonville who are Chicagoland natives may actually join me to head up there in October.
And
as long as I'm back here for Halloween, I'll travel anywhere for good food, good whiskey, and friends.
And one thing we're going to do is, Jason promised this. We're bringing a bottle of our original 4-year-old Kilchoman to pour at the Jubilee. So I don't know if you've ever tasted our 4-year-old Kilchoman, but that is one that people ask for over and over and over again. Jason is bringing his final personal bottle to open at this event. So...
all right. Well, now I've got to get tickets, right?
Now you've got to go.
Unless Jason opened it to get rid of that cold of his.
Yeah, he's gonna kill Homan his cold.
Kill Homan his cold.
But yeah, like I said, Frederick, this has been a lot of fun. I really appreciate you coming on, and appreciate you sticking with us. For as long as you have. You've been with us for over 10 years, and you continue to stay with us. You continue to support us, and we don't take it for granted. And it's really special. Like I said before, this has been Jason's full-time gig for a while and my second job for the longest time. And it's been an absolute passion project. And so, good people like yourself have supported us for so long, and we finally got to this place where it's become a thing. And so you helped us to get there. And so seriously, I cannot. Yeah,
let's keep it a thing, right? And thank you for doing a good job, because people aren't going to. What's the saying? A blind squirrel find a nut every once in a while, but you guys just keep delivering, bottle after bottle. So it's fantastic. So you're doing something right. I think you built it right too. I think this is a great group of passionate people and good people. There's a lot of sharing in this community, which I love. And I just hope, and it's really one of the reasons why I asked you about artisanal. And I have no axe to grind with them. I wish their stock would do a little bit better, but I bet they do too. Sometimes it's just, you get tied up, the more you get tied up in a quote unquote corporate structure, you kind of lose yourself. And I would hate to see you and Jason and Jess lose the spirit of the nation.
Yeah.
Because it's been fantastic. And I thank you.
Yeah. And listen, that's so I didn't finish answering your question when you asked about artisanal. So one of the things that we made a point of in joining and finding our way within their inner workings, right? Because we're 3 people within a much larger organization, is exactly what you said, which is making sure that we didn't get lost, making sure that we didn't
gets assumed.
What's that?
Gets assumed by the larger entity.
Exactly. And making sure that we, that we're just stuck to our guns on everything. And, when they purchase this is one of the things that I loved about this. And this is why I knew this was the right decision, is when they asked to acquire us, we had said, we want to have full control, complete autonomy, full control over Single Cask Nation. And they said, no, you don't understand. We want you to have that. We're acquiring you because of what you've done with this. We need you to keep doing what you are doing. And they've proven it. Across these 2 years, they've proven it day after day after day. They support us in everything that we do. Every idea that we have, they support it. And our selection processes remain the same. We are just as picky as we always have been. And nothing has changed. And so we're sticking to our guns. And
that's great.
Yeah. Yeah. So
that's great that that's what they wanted, and they honored that, because you have done a great job, and if you continue to do what you do, you will all be successful, and then we will all benefit from that as well. So exactly. It's a win-win-win.
Exactly. Yeah. We couldn't have chosen a better partner to be with. Or at the very beginning, people had asked us, "Is this congratulations or commiserations?" Yes. And it's congratulations all the time. It's congratulations. It's been awesome. Great, and it continues to be great.
Very happy for you.
Yeah. Cheers. Thank you. Well,
thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to let you go. Before I do, you are the nation. That's what I got to tell you. You seriously are the nation. Thank you for being a part of it. Let me know when you want us to host a charitable event for you. We will
October 15th.
And hey, let me know when you're in New Haven, when you have to be in IKEA. Shoot me a message.
Yeah,
I'll get some pizza.
Absolutely, we'll do.
Okay, all right.
Maybe a burger at Lou's.
Yeah. Well, I'm a vegetarian. I'll watch you eat.
I have no problem with that.
Okay.